Awesome, guys. Welcome to session 10. Keep every lead. I'm going to just drop a quick note here. When I finally got my head out of my own way and decided to work a database, one of the first key appointments my coach at the time gave me was, Philip, what are you staring at right now? And I said, your face. But what's around your desk? And I said, files, leftover papers, sticky notes, all this stuff. He's like, Philip, I want you to start calling everybody, go through that list and call them and then put them in your database. A very simple daily 10-4. Make 10 contacts, add 10 contacts to your database, send them thank you notes. As I was doing that, the knives started hitting my stomach. The amount of people who said, oh, I'm so glad you called. Yeah, we closed escrow a year ago. Or we sold our house 2 years ago. Or, hey, I'm in escrow now. Or, hey, I'm working with so-and-so and selling my house. It was 40 people. That first month of calling through the list of folks that I had initially made contact with, whether my sphere or elsewhere, all had some version or another, and a lot of them had moved. Right now, granted, for the 40 I missed on, plus more, there was another 40, 50, 60 who said, hey, I am in the market, I'm just not ready right this moment, right? And so now we start working and following up those contacts. So I want you to think about that, the amount of folks that we made contacts with, and you don't have to go through the same pain as me. I'm so hard-headed, right? And we still close deals in that period of time, but imagine having an extra 20 deals, over that time, not even all 40. What if I had enough bandwidth to take on 20, over that period of time? That would have been just as amazing. My kids would have been maybe this much more happier. Going from real estate expert to lead generation, these are the first two we've covered. We're now going into the lead follow-up portion of our businesses. And then we're going to start with keeping every lead. And then we're going to describe what is lead follow-up, how to lead follow-up, and post-lead follow-up, what happens after we do that, right? And last time we were here, if you guys were watching the recording, we talked about the likelihood of a move. And it's basically a 7 to 10 year period, right? When we were coming out of the recession in 09, 10, 11, 12, the numbers were 5 years. And that's because of the foreclosure rate and so much more. Now we're looking at a 7 to 10 year gap where, hey, life could happen and they could decide to move at any point. But then are we being top of mind in that time frame, right? The lead follow-up framework is people who are possible business. This would be, and you guys have heard me talk about net plus one, right? This would essentially be individuals who raise their hand and say, hey, Philip, I would like to buy a house, except these 3-4 things have to happen. Maybe it could be they need answers about their down payment or how to get their down payment. It might be about their debt to income ratio if they're meeting with the lender and kind of going through that process. My whole thing in framing possible business today is, wow, I want to buy a house. Great. First thing is a consultation, maybe not this blunt, but it's consultation, a pre-approval, off we go, right? So if we get through the consultation and they're like, wow, Philip, the interest rate's kind of high, I don't have a whole lot of money saved, man, that estimated payment based on what we make and we don't really feel comfortable. That might be someone you might follow up with after they meet with the lender and kind of get a solid baseline. Then we'll add them to our lead follow-up pipeline. Or on the seller side, it might be someone who says, well, Philip, as you know, my kids finished school this year and they're going to college. Maybe it's something we work out, right? So it's a lot of maybes would probably be the best way to kind of describe it. But those would then go into your follow-up pipeline. And there's ways we could do that on command through opportunities list. And we have enough time, I'll get my laptop and I'll loop in and show you where to add that. And they become probable business and a profitable business, meaning we close deals. If you aren't first or second in their mind, you probably won't get the business, right? That's straight out of the MREA. You want to be the number 1, number 2 in mind share. Lead follow-up is a big part of that. And we'll show you kind of the steps you can take with either whether on a group or a team or individual through command. But you definitely want to be at the right place at the right time. And you're not going to be with them everywhere you go, but be through emails, handwritten notes, quarterly phone calls, just checking in. Like Evie could call me and say, hey, Philip, this is Evie, just checking in, seeing how things are going as you get into the summer break. Yeah, what do you guys have planned for the summer with you and the family? Oh, funny you mentioned that, they're going to summer school, blah, 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 whatever. Awesome. You know, as the market is changing, I just want to make sure that we keep you up to date and posted on what's happening. Interest rates are going up. We're seeing prices kind of cap off, but not dropping dramatically. In other words, right now with where you're at, you're solid. But if you have any questions about real estate that I can help you out with over the phone, and I say, no, I'm good. Awesome. If you happen to know of anyone who's thinking of making a move while things are still crazy, feel free to let me know. Great, will do. In fact, my mom, you know, and then my mom doesn't want to sell. It's been this back and forth drama, but that would be an opportunity to ask for referral or at least close for like the next phone call later in the year, right? But that would be a super simple, obviously 15-second in this example call, but it's just to check on how they're doing. Care call 101.
Say home check.
Home check, exactly. And you know what? When we go back to this timeline, that 7 to 10 year timeline, think of these hash marks as checking in on their lives, right? I mean, it sounds weird to say, like, oh, well, I don't want to do that. Well, that's just part of creating a relationship. If we go back the 9 sessions, almost every single one, or at least maybe every other one, but I think every single one we kind of highlighted the idea of a relationship that we're creating, that we're capturing or starting, and then we're maintaining that relationship throughout, right? If you want to think of it as pure business, you think of it as notes and touching base over that period of time, seeing where there's opportunities for real estate needs, or introducing them to your network. Like for anyone out there, I'll pitch it. Jocelyn does property management. So if you need a kick butt property manager, talk to Jocelyn. This is like her kingdom. is exactly that. In fact, you might get to meet Steve and Tamara. They don't work with their friend or friends. Like, I found out that he's actually way out of area.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of advising them from afar.
Okay.
But they would, like, I've been encouraging them, like, hey, once you get a tenant or even before that, have the same property management company run the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like we turn away leases because we're like, oh, it's time consuming, and ultimately the real win is managing it as opposed to just finding the one-time tenant.
Yeah.
So as a value proposition, we refer that out, right, to the right people. Same thing with loans, obviously, construction. And the more they think of you as the resource and consultant, or at least the network resource, like the Angie's List or the Yelp or the Google reviews for the best quality people in your sphere, now you're, oh wow, hey, we're moving to Idaho. Jocelyn, do you think you can help us sell? You know? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then check this out, it's the double referral. You're referring somebody out to all these people. If you're a contractor, or if all you did was property management, you're like, hey, Philip, you know, I've got a client, I was working on their house, now they need to sell. Do you think you can help them? Sure thing, Joe. And I'm like, I'd say Joe because he's like texting me right now about a referral for a home purchase. Like, oh, this is awesome. I would say, oh, that's not listening, but I'll take it. Yay.
Yeah.
And we're doing his lease for free, by the way. Like no charge.
Yeah.
Here's Maureen. Maureen will put it together. His tenants are moving into his unit. He's moving into another house. And we're just like, oh, send it over. We'll draft it. I think he just has to pay our E&O with a $99 fee. So it's $175, $174, and we'll process it. You know, so he has like the full backing of our brokerage. You know, no commissions. Ahas. Any ahas on that topic when it comes to the long-term lead follow-up, or what lead follow-up is?
I have a comment.
Fire away.
The same happened to me. I've been cleaning up my database, and yesterday I went through and I was calling people. And I met a lady in my farm, and she was speaking of selling her home. And I went to go follow up with her. I looked up her house, and it's currently for sale for $3.9 million.
Oh.
But the thing is I've had her on my drip. So she unsubscribed from my newsletters. She hasn't been answering my calls. So, I mean, I don't know, I guess, what type of follow-ups, if they're not, and nothing was wrong. I never did a listing appointment or anything. She just kind of got disinterested or something like that. So that was very discouraging. And how do you follow up with people like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of it, especially when it comes to a geographic farm, you're just not going to get them all, right? I mean, there's so many people battling for that mind space. When I think of a geo farm, I think of, okay, besides the trips, besides the 1 a month mailer, are we doing events, right? And this is probably the reason why I've never wholeheartedly got into geo farming, is that the commitment to building the relationships there is very similar to building a relationship with people on my cell phone, is driving them to an event, right? Like our events happen to be kids' birthday parties, we have baby showers and different things happening in our lives. And we naturally invited the core group of our people, past clients even, to those events. And that was like a natural event within your sphere. You don't really have to think about it as like, oh, we got to make sure this is like an awesome event and get sponsors. Like, no, we're just throwing an event and inviting the people in our lives to it, right? With the geo farm, you kind of have to also take this extra step of building a way for them to meet you face to face and connect with you outside of the text message, email, phone call, letter, and drip campaigns, where they know, hey, Katrina Keller is a real person, and hey, I can connect with her. Now, I bet when you look at the agent on there, is it a competing agent who farms in the same area?
No, she actually is an agent that she mentioned at the time I was speaking with her. She said she spoke to another agent. She was just kind of getting information, but her husband was in hospice and was in the process of passing. So I didn't want to keep bugging and pushing. I sent her a few notes, and you are correct. I haven't done monthly mailings to my farm, but there is a huge agent who also lives in the farm, Carol Wolf. Not sure if you've heard of her name. Yeah, so she actually dominates my farm. So I don't do the monthly, and I'm not, people don't know my name. Do you know what I mean? But I didn't continue to follow up with her because I wanted to give her that personal space and not bother her and let her deal with her husband. But now I've missed that opportunity. And that was
I think it's you've heard me say this, like failing forward, there's no such thing as anything wrong or anything wrong with the type of approach. I just think when you analyze it from a macro level, it's just so, I hate to say it, but like geofarm is really like a crapshoot. I mean, you really got to hit it from a personal level. And who knows, maybe they just connected with this agent, it was a referral, whatever it is. And you're not going to win them all, right? I mean, like where I live, I get tons of mailers from Jim Sandoval, and it's like one after another. There was a period of time where like I think every, I want to say 25%, which is killing an area. He was getting the listings. Like I knew the listings were his because he did the 4-square photo, and I really know it was his listings. He only paid 1% commission. I'm like, oh, this guy. But anyways, I bring that up because it's it's just part of the journey sometimes, right? It's kind of like I hear these recruiting stories of Paul Morris saying like he gave away everything to this one agent, and the guy decided, nope, I'm not gonna join. He ended up going to a different office, right? And then he could have been really negative with that person and said, terrible things to the guy. And said, all right, cool. Hey, no worries. We wish you the best of luck. Well, you fast forward 8 months later, the guy calls him and says, hey, does that offer still stand? And Paul, building this Beverly Hills office is like, sure, absolutely. But if he was like a total jerk about it, about him saying no 8 months prior, goodness gracious, where that could have gone, right? Like the guy wouldn't have thought of his Keller Williams Beverly Hills office, he would have thought of somewhere else. And I relate that story because of, just because someone listed doesn't mean that they've closed. The amount of times I've had clients list with other agents, these are people who know me, like me, trust me, and they still listed with a different agent. So I guess I could kind of bring it full circle. It's like, oh, Evie, congratulations. Mm-hmm. I feel terrible that we're not gonna have a chance to work together, but I'm super excited that you're making this move towards your goals. I might say that over the phone so they can't see how droopy my face is. But
we've done that. Like we'll have an open house and we'll get, oh, do you guys have an agent? Yeah. Oh, that's great. Good. Come on in. Sign in here anyway.
Yeah. Nope. I will actually ask them, hey, do you mind putting your agent's name there and their contact number?
Oh,
so we
that's
can
a
give
good
them a heads
idea.
up. And then they're like, oh, who's our agent again? You know, like.
Oh, I
Yeah.
like that, one step further, I'll do that next.
I forgot to ask me if I could do an open house with them, and I told them I really don't do them, but it's a great opportunity for us to train together, so we'll just do them and have people shadow us, right? So,
Yeah.
fun times. I'm gonna read this real quick from Rachel. Good morning, I started door knocking in my neighborhood and also sending out mailers 2 months ago. Does anyone have any suggestions, or maybe having a block party or something to get to know people and have had success with this? I've lived in my house 11 years, but do not know many neighbors. July 4th or possibly Memorial Day, or possibly a neighborhood watch. I'm just trying to figure out a strategy. Rachel, 1000% on the latter. If you have an existing neighborhood watch, be like a block captain. And if you don't have one, work with your neighborhood council on opening one. And where do you live, by the way, Rachel? Which part of town are you in?
Good morning. I'm in Woodland Hills by El Camino, right by Walnut Acres.
Oh, okay, cool. So then you have Topanga Division, obviously. So Topanga Division would be your LAPD headquarters. And then you would contact, if you don't have one, you can contact them and ask them. They actually have a little department that will set up a neighborhood watch with you. They'll even give you a senior lead officer who will meet with you, like if you guys are doing it like once a month on a Wednesday, I'm gonna make it up, on the first Wednesday of every month beginning in July, the senior lead officer will meet you at XYZ place. In fact, depending on your comfort level with your neighborhood and your family, you could actually have a meeting in your patio or in your front yard, which we've done. And this is before COVID, we would actually have meetings at a neighbor's house in their front yard area, because it was actually like a really cool front yard. And they used to have like bring your own chair, and it was a neat thing. And for Panorama City, at least, that was kind of cool. But if you have like a private space where you're at, that would be a cool one to do. And then go to empowerla.org, EMPO, I'll put it in the chat. But you can go there and find out when your neighborhood council meets. And then you'll find out like some of the neighbors who kind of come from your area of Woodland Hills. And then you can piggyback those events into your farming aspect. So, and this is for Katrina too, like find out what the, because you guys are doing the work. That's the hard part for me, is doing the actual door knocking and taking the time to make that a focus. But to make this like even a stronger type mushroom, empowerla.org if you're in the city of LA, find out when your neighborhood council meets and be a bug in there. Like learn about the nosy neighbors, learn about what's happening in the neighborhood. And now all of your marketing is not about real estate, not about selling and buying and interest rates. That's on the back of the page. The front of the page is, hey, here are some free service numbers you can call to fill in XYZ, ABC all the way through. And it's pretty cool if you go to 311 My LA, 311 or 311 My LA. There's actually free resource guides you can pull. And if you go to the county assessor's office for Jeffrey Prang, there's actually a ton of PDFs. There's actually a realtor drop down box, and you can take any of their links or any of their information, plug in your logo, name, photo, or especially if you use Canva, you can just kind of paste right over it. And when you print on the back side a market update. So front page on yellow paper or pink paper, something colorful that stands out. I was using yellow and pink in my neighborhood in Panorama City. Print out on one side resources, other side market update. And then here's like the cool one. Go back and watch this video for this portion. Hi, my name is Philip. I'm your neighbor over at 8144 Ranchito Avenue. The reason I'm stopping by today is that I volunteer here with our neighborhood council, and we're sharing some great information about some free resources that I personally didn't know we have, and I wanted to make sure we share it with our friends and neighbors here. Also, I happen to be a realtor, and not to solicit or anything like that, but as you know, the market is really at an all-time high, and we've grown so much over last year. On the back of the page, I've left my information and some stats about the neighborhood. If there's anything we could ever do for you, please let me know. Here you go. And then whatever their response is, like, oh, cool, wow, and you're a realtor, but where do you live? And now you're leveraging your neighborhood, you're leveraging, and in fact, you can probably even tell them you've lived there for 11 years in Rachel's case, you know, so you can leverage those pieces and really be a resource and a consultant. You're a resource for the neighborhood and for the free resources available. You're a consultant when it comes to real estate. And you can kind of flip flop that if you feel more comfortable starting off with the realtor aspect and then go into the service aspect. That's totally fine. Katrina or Rachel, any feedback on that?
Yeah, I actually have a suggestion. I have a realtor friend at my previous broker office, and she did this. We were speaking of having a shred day. So you get a shred truck and you park it somewhere in the neighborhood. She actually ended up doing it. She farms Woodland Hills, and it was a really good turnout. I went and helped her, but people came. She also had a lender sitting there, so people could ask the lender questions, although the lender didn't get a lot of response. People were just there to shred. But what she did is she had like $100 Amazon gift card raffle. So everybody who came, they filled out a sign in, my name, my email, my phone number, and then they got entered for a raffle. But it also gave her an opportunity to door knock and invite people to the shred event. And then it gave her an opportunity for email blast. Hey, don't forget the shred event. And then also her Facebook groups and in your local neighborhood. What is that? Nextdoor.com. She blasted it there too. So it was a way to give her exposure and also an opportunity to go door knock and speak to people. And it wasn't about real estate. It was, hey, there's going to be a shred truck. She contacted the church. They let her park in the parking lot. And lots of people came, and it was in February. So everybody was getting rid of their tax or their whole years of information. I took 2 boxes full of paper, but that was very helpful. The shred truck was like $1,700 her cost. And I don't know how many leads she got out of that, but that was a really good way to get involved into the community in your neighborhood.
You can also schedule e-waste pickups for no money.
Yeah.
They'll come and pick up for free.
That
I
is
used
so
to do
true.
it with my office buildings.
What was that?
E-waste pickup,
What is that?
electronic waste, so printers, copiers,
Oh, that's a good.
anything you might have, and they don't charge for that.
That's a good idea. So how would you do that? You would just have people send you their address if they want to be included, and you would schedule the truck to go to their house?
Well, I door knock and they come to one location. So with my office buildings, they used to come to the loading dock. And I'd have everybody bring down their equipment that they wanted to get rid of. And they take it away. And they clean it, like if you have a laptop or phone or something, they take it and they, clean it, and then and they give you a document that says it's been done.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thank you.
Sorry, guys, you guys gave me like a gigantic idea. So I'm gonna share a script dialogue that I typed up yesterday. I actually did something like, wow, I'm actually, I did something productive, Hang on, guys. So forget the name. It does say Team Law Familia on here, but it's not I don't know if it's actually sharing. But it is sharing. No, it's not showing on this side. I guess I have to stop share. Oh, there you guys go. So you guys see this, the Team La Familia golden script page or something like that, golden dialogues. You guys see that online by any chance?
Yeah.
Awesome. See if you guys can take a screenshot. If you're on a Mac, it's Command-Shift-3 and it'll screenshot it. But you know what? And Katrina, you guys gave, and Rachel, you guys gave me like an incredible idea, events, right? And I brought up an event idea, but if you're calling, like you get your numbers from title, right?
Mhm.
Or if you're following up with people in your neighborhood, say, hi, my name is blank with KW Realty, and you can change any of this stuff. Thank you for taking my call. The reason for my outreach today is to invite you to our event. That, etc., could be the neighborhood watch, neighborhood council meeting. But if you find out, like you get the circle prospecting a mile from within your home, more than likely they're in that same, neighborhood watch area, right? And it happens on blank at blank. While on the phone together, is there anything from being a real estate resource and consultancy, I should probably edit that, that we may provide for you while connected together? If yes, write down the need and follow up the appropriate resource on the next call. If not, awesome. With the market constantly changing, Maybe we keep in touch and keep you posted as the real estate market changes. Great, whatever. Closing, what is your preferred email? So it may send you your contact and background information. Thank you for your time. Looking forward to connecting, reconnecting. Take care and have an outstanding day. So you kind of lead off with you being the realtor, right? Or however you want to phrase that. And then you're calling to invite them to an event. So that could be like a basic touch follow-up, Katrina. You might, because you set up those events, but then maybe a giveaway instant event would be something like a neighborhood watch or something along those lines. But just food for thought as we're jumping into something like that. Because I thought of the events being like a yard sale around one of our listings was kind of like where that idea came from. But on that thread, if you're running events for your neighborhood, that could be an awesome way of leading the way for your area and an excuse to follow up or an excuse to make a first time call. There's just different ways to go about that. So
There's other inexpensive ways like a block yard sale, like you just set up all the marketing for it.
oh yeah, totally.
And then you put up a table there and maybe a loan officer on the day and everybody hosts, puts their stuff out on the lawn and it's not as costly as a dumpster or something like that in the beginning.
As a dumpster, when we did our clean outs for our listings, they're like $400 to $600 depending on the
That's not,
size.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
But
and-
she was mentioning 1,700 for the shredder. That can be pricey for someone that's starting out.
The bulky item drop off, that actually help our neighborhoods. We have people who throw away sofas all the time and we just offer it for free or something. And then we can co-brand it, like have like banners or something like that. Or at least put our open house signs on it.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, good to see you. Where you at? Come on in. So we were just having a breakout mastermind on farming and we follow up in events. So thank you for that gift, Katrina. That was awesome. Now going into the how-to lead follow-up. Now there's different ways to go about it. You guys may have seen this a couple of sessions ago. We were highlighting the from the lead aspect, 19 to connect, 4 touches quarterly phone call, 12 touches monthly email, newsletter, market report, video, 2 touches promotional direct mail such as magnets, printed material, and 1 touch annual event party. So we kind of hit the event aspect. I'm going to show you guys something online here. Let me go back to share screen. And then let me jump off of this one, guys. And then it's back on mine. I gotta move this, ignite. Sorry guys, I got a ton of windows open. Oh my God, another nerdy moment. So you see this gal, Alicia Burnett. She was a lead from Facebook ads through Get KLD Command. And all her information showed up here. Oh,
That looks so cool.
I was blown away. I was like, oh, I don't even have to need Josh to set this up. Her tags are, where were her tags at? Is Dylan Virtuous mentioning that's what we tagged the campaign, but that's how it came up. Anyways, when we talk about the long-term nurture, you can set up a smart plan on your command. And I've already put her on a monthly, quarterly call. And if I had an address, did we get an address? No, we didn't get an address. But if you look her up, if you did the extra work of searching her name on Realist, you can actually see if she has property to her name. And then you could add a smart plan. Now, I'm assuming all of us are with SRAR or some version of CrisNet. So this is how you would search it. Sorry guys, I'm going a little bit off the reservation here, but just wanted to show you guys kind of like how that all works. Oh, that's not my username. Oh, that's not password. Sorry guys. If you're on this site, you could go to Realist and then punch in the person's name or copy paste it. And you can do this with anyone on your database. I think that was how it was spelled. Burnett, Alicia. Oh, there you go. She does have an address. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy and paste this bad boy into command. Where's command? There we forget, oh, no, not that page. By the way, on command, you can have multiple windows open and it'll update all across the board. And it said lead source Facebook lead ad, which is where we got it from. You go to add more information, copy, paste onto home, and it'll give you the actual one, same as mailing address. And what was it here that we saw? I'll hit save real quick. So if I go to realist, it'll show her husband's name is James, live in Pasadena. Actually, their tax billing address would be this one.
So is that where they live?
Right, so this is a house with their name associated with it. I don't know why it has a star. Oh, I don't know, that's a new one, I'm gonna follow that, cool. Garfield Heights, and then you can go through and they'll show you all the information on their property, their cell score. This is all through like our standard access points. And then so now I've saved your address. It copies Garfield Heights. I can go to Smart Plan now and add a Smart Plan. And this is where the 12-month comes in, because you can go ahead and go down to my monthly neighborhood nurture. Click that. And I'm not gonna start the plan now, I'm gonna start it for June. Go to the date and say June 6th, D-Day, for those World War II fans. For history buffs. Your request to start has been submitted and it'll update here. So now she'll get the every month on the 6th of the month, or whenever they update the system, she'll get a monthly neighborhood email update for that, specifically that square. And if we wanted to, I could zoom in and add surrounding areas for her to get what's sold, what's leased, what listed, what went pending, what canceled, what didn't sell basically. And she'll get a monthly average lookup of the value of her home and what's selling in the area.
And that's an email that you set up with.
It's automatic, so it'll come from my email that's set up with command, and it'll go right over to her email or whatever she's put in, whatever was entered into the system. And I still get the monthly, quarterly, or the quarterly calls reminding me, hey, Philip, don't be a moron, call. And if I wanted to take it a step further, I could go to Realist, right? That same page. I'll look up. Now this is a little weird, but you can also pull their anniversary date, right? So where would that be here?
I was gonna say, what about birthday?
That birthday, so I have Josh going the extra mile and he goes to been verified or
Okay.
something like that, and he searches for their
So
birthday.
use that one. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like big brotherly, like, oh, Philip, you're kind of like spying on folks right now, aren't you? But he'll pull it up, he'll find them, he'll update the system and he'll send it. So I'll usually leave this to Josh to do. But there you go on how that all works. Now I should probably tell, yeah, this one we probably can't share on YouTube. I'll make note of that. Jessica, fire away.
Philip, does the realist also give phone numbers or no?
You can actually pay on the
Okay.
premium version to have it.
Okay,
And that way you can do it. So for example, there's like a premium, it's like the same with your preferred title rep. They all have like title farm tools, total farm. Forgot what the other ones are called, but they all have title toolbox. And then when you want to find their number, date of birth, all that stuff, you can pay per lead or pay per contact. And I think it's like $6 or $12 per one that you want to find. Obviously, don't do that on a massive scale. That's a hell of an
Title
investment.
toolbox is only like penny, like 25 cents or something.
Oh, talk to Edie.
Yeah, so you get.
Who's the top work on that?
Billy Fairchild.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
Or Marco.
or Marco. Okay,
Marco.
there you
See,
go.
there's you at the same, okay.
Are they partners together? Or not?
No, I think Billy does another office.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, he's in Santa Clarita.
Oh,
And then let me go back to share screen. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys, for going off on a crazy tangent. I just thought that was kind of a deeper dive to kind of cover some of that ground. But on that note, that what we just showed you does cover the 19 to connect, 1 to cement. Now, the best I could say a high value touches would essentially be more of a face-to-face meeting. Like if you look at the triangle offense of value, at the very bottom, it's gonna be email touches, like just advertisement, right? Just throwing stuff in your inbox, throwing stuff at your door. It's just It's just that, it's just, hey, maybe they open it, maybe they don't. At the very top of that would be a one-on-one appointment, right? Beneath that would be an event. Oh man, some more stuff that they should be covering here, they don't. Let me see if I can share, let me just adjust the share screen. And I'm gonna show you guys something on Google. Yeah, this one's fine, yeah. Share, and you can just Google search this, but it's called the 7 levels of communication. It's an awesome book. And then it's called, let me see here, let me go to images. They have the pyramid here. Here it is. Here's one. I don't know if online you guys can see this very well. Control. Here we go. So I'm just zooming in as best we can. So on there at the very bottom is advertising. Above that is direct mail. And above that's electronic communication. Electronic communication is also texting and direct messaging, emails, all that fun stuff. Right in the middle of that would be your handwritten notes. Remember that daily 10-4 we're talking about? The handwritten notes, actually, because everything is so like out there in terms of electronics and just mass media. I was told that per day we're hit with like 70,000 bits of information a day or every hour or something like that. It's like some kind of crazy number. Then above that is phone calls. Above that's events and seminars, or like what Crispino was talking about, like shred events and neighborhood watches and all that fun stuff. At the very pinnacle point is that one-on-one time with the client or that person. That, I mean, these days it could also be a Zoom thing, but you definitely want to have something where to cement that relationship. And they could be one-on-one at an event where you meet them for 3 minutes of their time and put a face to the voice, right? And make that connection. So we kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent, but this, to Katrina's point, covers all that headspace. Jessica, you have a question? Or maybe just the hand was up, it's all good. Awesome. And then the 36 to convert. So this is 4 touches by phone. Now this is a little bit of overkill. This would be like, now I consider it overkill. Gary Keller and top agents say, hey, this is what must be done. At this point, this is like a constant bombarding of information. And we're, as a group, we're working on just getting to that point. I'm just not comfortable that many emails going out.
Unsubscribe us after a while.
Yeah, and so we've actually, if you guys want to take some time, look up Brady Sandall. He is the director for Keller Williams International Luxury, or the luxury department. I'm gonna put his name in here in the chat box. Brady Sandall, I think it's like this. Sandohl. Brady Sandall. So his stuff is actually like, if I were the general public, I would actually save this information. Yeah, I thought that his way of telling a story about Palm Springs, where he primarily sells luxury real estate, is very attractive. I would highly suggest, to Katrina, all of us here together, as we take time and define, going back to the very first session, truly defining our mission, our vision, our values, our belief system, and our perspective on what we want to promote ourselves as. If we're going to say, hey, I cover like this entire vast territory, awesome, make your messaging about this vast territory, right? But like the one thing says, go really small to go big, right? And I'm talking to myself more than anyone here about maybe narrowing it down to 91304 or where I live and building it out from there. Awesome. So we'll fly through this last portion. I keep saying that, but we don't. 19 touches a year, lead follow-up best practices. Sorry, I have to keep moving the screen. What are my strengths? So this is some questions to ask yourselves. What are my strengths when working with people? How can I adapt the touches of 19 to connect to represent me? So it doesn't have to be the stuff that's already automated on KW Command. Find something that really messages with you. Like, you guys have a cool logo, IQ.
Mhm.
real estate IQ, right?
Wait,
And
wait,
it plays it right into your name,
IQ Casas,
IQ Casas,
smart way.
exactly. You know, have that play into your branding, right? What are some reasons I might have for contacting the lead? What are some touches to do before and after a phone call? I didn't go deep into it, but a lot of my contacts will have like nurses, first responder, high school friend, or like different tags to disseminate where I know them, how I met them. Are they an investor? Are they renting, leasing, whatever the situation is? When how am I using the conversation to let the person know that I'm in real estate, how to contact me, how to refer business to me. That's how we communicate with folks, right? Letting them know, hey, if you happen to know of anyone that's looking to, maybe not you. I know you're solid, you're set.
Mhm.
However, if you come across a neighbor or friend who's thinking of maximizing the market of the moment, would it be okay if you connected us? Right?
They
Or-
like that, because you take the pressure off.
Oh, totally.
Wait, you want to sell my house?
Like, no, especially with people we know, like, I was talking to a friend of mine, Peter Lee, and I said, he was asking about the market, is the market going down? And I said, yes, but let me ask you a question. A couple months ago, your home was worth 1.2 million in Northridge. Are you selling and foreclosing on your house? And are you gonna stop paying your mortgage because the value of your home goes from 1.2 to 950,000? It's like, oh no, like no way, right? Still got equity. Your payment's super low because based on the time frame you bought it and refi since then, you're gonna see values drop, but you're not gonna see them totally drop. And I would hate to lose you as a good friend and neighbor, not neighbor, but good friend.
Yeah.
We communicate and see each other time. And he loved that. I love that. I love him. I never told him that, but I have a deep respect for the guy and his family, right? So letting them know from that perspective, hey, I've got your back, right? How much time should it take to reach out to a lead? Ask that for yourself. You'll see here some of the agents with the offices here, and we're on like these epic phone calls. And I say epic, it's like we're 15, 20 minutes into a dialogue with someone we know, right? And we're just connecting. What will I do to hold myself accountable? That's a great question. If you guys ever want to, like after these calls or after flow at 11, normally I'm just here making my phone calls. Right before this meeting at 9:30, I'm doing my lead follow-up. And if you guys are here like a little extra early at 8:30, I'm doing my first and 10, which is like my first top 10 important calls a day. I'm just like pacing, returning messages, calls, all that stuff. And then some afternoons when we don't have anything happening, right after I grab a quick bite to eat from like 12:30, 12:45 to about 2:30, I'm making calls here. So if you guys want to, for those online, for those here, you guys ever want to jump in some points of those days, 2 to 4 hours a day, I'm on the phone with you guys and we can hear each other on the call. You can hear me talk to people I know, people I don't know. We can ask each other for tips like, hey, I want to call my college professor from 2016. What do you think I should approach him with? Well, let's start with a text message or an email, right? And a reconnection email, reconnection text, reconnection DM, and go from there.
I'd like to call that doctor that was helping me with my knee.
Yes.
And I sent her a couple emails on some really great multiple family homes that she was interested in buying, and now she's like kind of ghosting.
Yeah.
Because I'm not seeing her anymore, and I'm like, oh, what happened?
A great one after giving it some time. Like I would play a call. I was talking to Daniel from Mike Coach's team, and they have this policy where they don't actually jump at every lead necessarily.
Mhm.
What they'll do is they'll give it some time and then go ahead and jump in and say, oh, hey, wanted to make sure we follow up with you. So you don't ever want to be the one necessarily like constantly on there.
Maggie or something.
Yeah, I mean, after a while, if there's like no responses after like 4 in a row, I'll be like awesome, mentally awesome. I'll put this next touch 1 month from now.
Okay.
Right? And then it will just become like a monthly, maybe a text message or a call. I'll already plug in the quarterly call, and now that's how I just do it. If I feel like they're still on the opportunity list for follow-up, I'll move them on that thread and then maybe shoot them a text. But like it won't be like every week. It'll be every so often. And then this slide here is just making an impact, your value proposition. This kind of goes back to that first week that we started. Personal communication, statistics, and data. So this is where our value proposition is, hey, I'm here for you and your real estate needs as a resourcing consultant. Personal communication is, hey, Evie, how did your operation go? How's your surgery and recovery going? Statistics and data would end with, hey, as you know, interest rates are going up and prices are coming down in different markets. However, and then you kind of circle back to where they live, where they're at, and you can kind of have an idea. If you're in Woodland Hills, you're probably not seeing the world collapse. You know, you're still the ideal place people want to move to. I mean, that's, if you're in Palmdale, different story. You're seeing those prices come down. Potential lead sources. Yeah, everything we've actually talked about, calls in, calls out, past clients, purchase leads, client referral, open house, statements or questions. Why are you thinking about buying or selling? Tell me more. What will that do for you and your family? This is needs analysis questions 101. You know, being more of a detective when it comes to their moves and their needs, right? And these are pretty universal questions across the board. For calls, literally the same thing. Any ahas? All right, let's real quickly go to post lead follow. So if you guys have seen this before, you guys want to take another screenshot or a picture of it. You capture a lead from prospect or marketing. They go into your database, and they either be a lead off the bat, like they're ready to do something with you in terms of business, and it's just a matter of strengthening a relationship or following up. And then it goes right into cultivating contacts for conversion, and then you go into new business, repeat for referrals, and they go right back into that base. I started this conversation with having missed on at least 40 deals, and that's because I've always lived up here. If you were ready today, I would help you, or I could help you. If you weren't ready, I may have had you in a database, and I may have called you just out of being bored, right? Or not having nothing else to do, or wanting to avoid farming or door knocking, and then maybe we connected. The truth is, however you're meeting people, you wanna have a place where you can funnel them into, unless you're superhuman and you can remember all the stuff that comes to your brain. Cementing the relationship, adding high value on here, that's what we're gonna cover next week. But any ahas before we jump off today?
Is there a way of getting a hold of a expired listing list?
Yes, a couple ways. So I can show you the way online, but it's actually against our realtor code to use expired listings on MLS.
Okay.
However, you can go through, is it Redex? Redex is one, Mojo.
Expensive,
What,
unless you have
what's the
people that work in my.
what's the productivity coaching one? Like you guys pay?
That's, well, no, that's just on the side if they wanna have it. I opted out because I wasn't gonna do the productivity, so I felt like it wouldn't be fair.
One, now that I just thought on me, Revo Gateway is a good one. And now that you guys have some time, I know we're gonna all go to like Steve Sax's
Yeah,
hang on guys. This is what Revo Gateway looks like, by the way, just so I can show you guys now. My computer's here. Share, or maybe I should stop recording on here. I promise guys this will take like 2 minutes and you guys will see what it is. Where it is recording. Did we stop recording already?
A little higher.
Oh, thank you.
Two more, yeah.
Oh, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.